Welcome. I'm Martin Kuppinger, Principal Analyst at KuppingerCole Analysts. I'm here with Ritesh from CYFIRMA, and our topic today will be threat intelligence in a broader sense, and what you really need to do to successfully sort of defend yourself against attacks, and specifically defend yourself against attacks before they even occur. So welcome, Ritesh. How are you?
I'm good, Martin. Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah, pleasure. And so maybe you can give a very quick intro about yourself and CYFIRMA before we dive into the subject.
Sure. So I'm Ritesh, founder and CEO of CYFIRMA. CYFIRMA is a 4.5 years old external threat landscape management company. We kind of combine complete comprehensive view of external threats and risks towards organization. And we do that using our platform. We are a company which is started in Singapore, but we have grown ourselves globally now. We work with multiple companies in manufacturing to financial institution to critical infrastructure, government agencies. Super successful story.
Okay, so when you say external threat landscape management, there are a lot of elements in external threats, the landscape of the threats, the management. So what do you see as what has been, when you started a company, that challenge you felt hasn't been solved well yet? So what is your specialty?
Yeah, it's a great question, Martin. And clearly this was a problem which I myself was facing before starting CYFIRMA. So I used to be head of security for one of the largest resourcing company. And what used to happen back in those days, you had individual players who was doing threat intelligence. Some of them were doing external attack surface management. Few of them were doing digital risk discovery. And unfortunately, the problem was these were individual silos which were being delivered. Then a complete comprehensive view of how good or bad you look like from outside in perspective. And what we have gone about doing is we have gone about actually combining 6 foundation pillars of external threat landscape management, where we look at your external attack surface, which we generally call it as your doors and windows, which cybercriminals can use to get into your organization. We then look at, how porous your attack surface looks like, how vulnerable you look like, and how lucrative your doors and windows look like to cybercriminals. Then we give you a visibility, especially around your brand, to sort of guide you, like, are you a lucrative asset for cybercriminals? Do you look very lucrative from outside in perspective?
Okay.
We combine that with your digital footprint discovery, where we look at, well, do you have any identity leaks? Do you have any data leaks? Do you have any, sensitive files which has been thrown out there, which potentially cybercriminals can use to break into your organization? And then we come to the 5th pillar, which is a situational awareness, where we kind of give you a trend view of what is going on from cybercrime perspective in your industry, your technological stack, and your geolocation from where you are operating from. And Martin, it plays a very important role because geopolitical differences, as you can see in world order today, is playing a very important role in cybercrime. And finally, we sort of tie all that up with our threat intelligence capability. So as you rightly said, we are way more than just threat intelligence.
Yeah. So at the end, it's a little, you take an approach to reduce the sort of the species in the zoo of cybersecurity tools by saying we have a more integrated solution. When you talk about your points, the one thing is, which I found and still find very interesting, is your claim is that you help organizations understand, so to speak, what happens at the attacker side.
Yeah.
So how do you do that?
So the whole thesis of our platform and the way we have gone about building this, right? So there are 2 guiding principles which we always carry as a platform company. One, how do we quickly give you a visibility of your, like, how good or bad you look like from outside in perspective? Like, what are some of your assets which you are carrying which are vulnerable? How porous your digital footprint looks like? Is your brand matter of interest for cybercriminals? So we kind of take that approach by giving you a very factual view of how sort of invasive you look like from outside in. And then combining that with adversaries' interest. So looking at cybercriminals, what are they interested in? Are they looking at actually breaking into you? Are they looking at actually exploiting your brand, your solution? And the way we go about doing this is we have built what we call in our world as virtual agents. So these are automated programs which we have thrown out there in dark web forum, in private communities, in language-specific communities, to deep web, to surface web. And we kind of monitor using our 900 virtual agents the complete schematics of internet, you can call it.
Okay.
Now, we understand almost 28 different languages on real-time basis. And we collect some of these secretive sort of nuances, you can say, conversations from different parties, and we bring them into our centralized platform. And we sort of give, combining all other sort of, information, and we give a clear insight to organization, like these are cyber criminals who are looking at potentially attacking you.
So being from an attacker's perspective, sort of a spy, aren't you then also a target of these attackers? Because I think your tools are seen as a threat to the business model of the attackers.
You're so right there, Martin. Right now, if you look at it, we are monitoring almost 830 cyber criminal groups and almost 1,900 cyber hacking campaigns. And we get to see a lot of love from cyber criminals as well, because of course, we are busting their campaigns before they actually really realize their outcomes. So we get to see a lot of love from them, but the way we have gone about actually building our platform, we have used 7 layers of defense. We have used very scattered, defragmented sort of architecture by which, for somebody to actually break into our platform, it will be difficult. I wouldn't say that it's impossible. Then nothing is impossible in cyber, but it's a little difficult. We have created all that resistance there.
So imagine, for instance, a customer which is a large online retailer. So what is it what you would bring to him? So you would tell, okay, these credentials are out, these files have leaked, they are discussing you here, plan to do these attacks, run them against you. Is it what you deliver to them?
So let's actually map this back to our 6 pillars. So very first thing which will happen, let's say we onboard a very large retail company, and onboarding takes literally like 10 minutes. You just punch in the name, you punch in their domain. The way our platform goes about sort of working is first it will go and create a profile of a customer. So it will look at like which industry you're operating in, what sort of technological stack you're using, which geolocation you're operating from, who are the most important people in your organization. So we collect a lot of information from public sources to create your profile. Once we have created your profile, then the journey starts with attack surface discovery. So we will look at what are some of the internet accessible assets which we can see from outside in perspective. And are those assets actually vulnerable in nature? And if they are vulnerable in nature, are there any exploits related to those vulnerabilities? Are we seeing any cyber criminal groups who are actively looking at potentially breaking into those vulnerabilities? Then we come back to your brand, like how good or bad your brand looks like from outside in perspective. Then we look at your digital footprint, as you rightly said, looking at your identity, looking at any confidential file, any sensitive files, which is unintentionally thrown out there, or it has been there out, which cyber criminals can use. And finally, wrapping that up with your sort of giving you ability to understand what is going on in your industry, your technological stack, your geolocation. And then finally, under our cyber intelligence capability, we very specifically tell you that these are cyber criminals who are looking at attacking you. This is why they're looking at attacking you. These are the motives. What do they want from you? Like, are they behind your intellectual property? Are they going behind your PII, CII? When they can attack, how ready are they to potentially attack? And how are they going to attack? Like, what sort of tools and techniques or methods they're going to use against you to come and attack you. So we give that complete visibility to organization on a beautiful looking dashboard.
So with all the insights CYFIRMA has on the attack landscape and the threat landscape, what is from your perspective sort of the next big threat, the next big thing happening?
I think there are 2 points which I want to highlight here. We are seeing a very clear shift. So traditionally, we have heard all the time Phishing used to be one of the most important attack vector used by cybercriminals. We are clearly seeing now a shift where cybercriminals are looking at actually using deepfake. Deepfake is a new technique which is being worked by cybercriminals. We have seen in last 4 months almost 187% increase in chatter within dark web communities, where cybercriminals are looking at actually working towards building a new type of social engineering using deepfakes.
Okay.
Number two, what is very, very interesting is now cybercrime has become an investable asset, Martin, where you can actually invest. Now, in our analysis in last 11 months, we have seen number of forums which was launched in dark web communities, where if you would have invested $1 11 months back, that would have translated today to $21,000. So 21,000% increase or outcomes which these assets are able to give. So our prediction is very, very clearly now you're going to see normal public, normal citizens, normal people getting involved into cybercrime, which means funding for cybercriminals might not be very difficult in coming days. They will get funded using virtual asset, NFTs, virtual currencies, you name it. So there's a lot going on there.
Yeah. And closing question, where do you see the vision of CYFIRMA? Where do you see CYFIRMA standing in 2 years or 3 years from now?
See, when we started CYFIRMA, I think, we called ourselves as an external threat landscape management company, and this was a brand new domain on its own because you had individual players, but we wanted to sort of bring a complete comprehensive view of how you can go about making decisions, how you can go about taking corrective actions in your cyber posture management. The way we see ourselves a couple of years from now, I think we will play a very important role in your cyber posture management as to how you will go about planning your cyber posture. What sort of tools you will require, what sort of infrastructure you will require, what sort of people capability you will require and processes based on understanding of your external threat landscape.
Okay, got it. Ritesh, thank you very much for giving these insights. I think this is a super, super interesting topic, and it will keep us awake probably for a long time because cyber attacks, cybercrime will not go away. So we need better tools. Thank you for providing this insight, and thank you to everyone to listening to this talk. Thank you.